Hi YouTube, this is Felicia with Bible Scraps or Journal Scraps, depending on the channel you are watching, and welcome to my, I want to say new, but it's not new. This is a series I started about 3 years ago and never finished. Well, I am back to pick up where I left off, and let me tell you, I have the coolest method, the coolest techniques. If you are, or if you want to be into collage, but you are intimidated, perhaps it's too messy for you. Well, I have a method that is so easy. I have a method that is so clean, and it involves the heat machine. Yes, in this series, we will be taking the heat machine to the next level. But before I go any further, before I share my project that will be created in this video, I must give a disclaimer. I am using the heat machine in a way it was not intended. And because I'm doing that, there's risk. You can damage your machine. You could void your warranty. You could cause a spark. You could cause a fire. You may not get the results you want. Once again, I'm using the heat machine in a way it was not. I have had excellent results. Your results can vary depending on the machine you are using, the sandwich you are using, and what you are using. Please watch this video in its entirety. I also have, or I will have, made available other videos. Please watch those videos in their entirety. I have done a lot of testing. I've done a lot of trial and error. I have used 4 machines in developing this method. I share a lot of tips. I share possible problems, and I share solutions in my videos. So please watch those in their entirety. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments below. Once again, I have had wonderful results, but your results can vary. If you decide to adopt my method, please proceed with caution and common sense. Okay, so this is the coolest series ever, in my opinion. I have already completed about 10 videos in this series, and I will publish those videos probably every other day. It all just kind of depends. In this video, we're going to start off making what I call a SAC, but then it's going to become what I call a FATSI. I will have a separate video breaking down what all these terms mean and what the differences are. Once again, watch this video in its entirety, please. But let me go ahead and show you what we will make in this video. Take a look at this. My foundation is fabric, and it's what I call a FATSI. And that is a fusible assemblage textile collage. Now, a lot can be done with this. In my upcoming videos, you will see just how I will use these pieces. But I tell you, the more I work with this method, the more ideas come. This is gorgeous. I love it. It's vintage themed. The foundation, once again, is fabric. But do you see all of my interest? The texture, the character. I love this, and this was easy to make and made primarily with the heat machine. It's time to get started. It's time to have fun and create, and I'm kicking off this fabulous series using the Amazon Basics heat machine. Amazon has 2 sizes. This is the larger of the size. It's 13 inches. It has 2 heat settings, 3mm and 5mm. I have my machine set on the 5mm. Now, this machine is great if you want to make what I call a SAC, which is a scrap art collage quilt or a scrap art collage. What you're looking at here is a scrap art collage quilt because I want to, or I will use this piece in a story quilt. Now you will see as this series progresses that my SACs will become what I call FATSIs, which are the usable assemblage textile collages. And depending on what type of machine you have and what you are fusing and your sandwich, that will determine if you can make a SAC or a FATSI. I'll talk more about that in another video. But isn't this beautiful? It has a vintage feel. And the reason why I call this a SAC, well, let me break down what every letter stands for. The S stands for scrap, of course, and that comes from scrapbooking. Pretty much everything you use in scrapbooking, you can use to create your SACs if it can fit through your machine. But if it can't fit through your machine, you can always embellish after. Everything you see here, I made using the heat machine. And SAC stands for art, because we are creating art. The C, of course, stands for collage. This is collage art. And then if you want to incorporate this into a quilt, you would add the Q at the end for quilt. And I just absolutely love this. I added some stenciling after the fact, and that was the only thing I added to embellish after I was done. Okay, I do want to spend a second to talk about the sandwich, which is very important. If you have a manual die cutting machine, and then you understand the importance of having the right sandwich, having the right shims to achieve the best cut possible. Every machine is different, and even with our different types of dies, you need different types of sandwiches. The same is true with this method and your heat machine. I have done a lot of experimenting, a lot of trial and error, and I decided that I needed a custom sandwich that would work in all of my machines. And let me tell you, I have that sandwich, and I share this sandwich in a separate video. I demonstrate how to construct it and all the products that I used. Be sure to check that sandwich out. Okay, so I'm going to leave my fabric right inside my sandwich, and I will be building my layers in the sandwich. I've cut down my heat and bond into the size I want. The rough side has the adhesive on it. Hold or press it face down into the fabric, and then throughout this series I'm going to be using a product called Heat and Bond, and this is how it looks. It comes on a roll. If you saw my napkin videos, you saw me use this product in those videos. If you are a quilter or if you work with fabrics, you have heard of this product or a similar product. This is a double-sided fusible for fabrics, but you're going to see me use this product in different ways. Now, what's great about it for the paper crafter, well, it's acid free. You get 17 inches by 5 yards, and I will have this linked below. Let your sandwich cool down, and then pull back your top liner, and you will hear a tack sound. And I love that tackiness sound, and that's normal. You do want to peel back the liner from your adhesive, and to avoid it tearing like that, I mean, you don't want that. It tears off really easy, but to avoid that, make sure you have a good grip. If I continue to tear at it, it's going to do that, and it gets harder to peel back the liner when that happens. Hold it together. Now I'm going to pull it from this way. Comes up with ease. So sometimes you will have these little pieces that are stuck on. I shouldn't say stuck, but still adhered on. Use your fingers. So now it's the fun part. We get to build our layers, make our collage, and fuse. I'm using this paper napkin. Paper napkins are great for this technique. You can use scrapbooking paper. You can use, once again, anything that you use in paper crafting and scrapbooking, if it will fit through your machine. Paper napkins are beautiful, and you can find them in all different styles for any occasion, any season, and they're thin, so they're not going to add any bulk to your sandwich. Use sticky back tape and peel back a layer. I've used this piece of tape several times already. Peel back enough until you can separate your layers. This napkin, let's see if it has another layer. It might only have just one layer. Yep. Okay, so you can cut down your napkin. You do not want any excess napkin hanging out of your sandwich, because you don't want the excess to get stuck in your machine. So what I'll do is just cut off bits and pieces. You know, one napkin can go a mighty long way. Tear off the border piece. Napkins they can be inexpensive, like at the Dollar Tree. But even if you pay more for your napkins, like I said, one napkin can yield, I don't know how many different projects. Okay, I think I like it like this. And you know, the great thing is, if I want to add more with the next fusing, I can. So let's fuse this through. Our sandwich has cooled down. Let's take a look. Peel back the top liner. You hear that sound? Absolutely normal. And this is how our piece looks so far. Okay, so I have a lot of exposed adhesive. I have a lot of open space. So I'm going to add more tissue. But this time I'm using tissue from a vintage sewing pattern. Just tear some off. And so I want the pieces that has the sketches on it. So randomly put it down. I could also use this time to add snippets of ribbon, fabric, just whatever. This process is great for all of your bits and pieces. I'm going to add some more of this vintage tissue. And excuse my dog. Let's fuse this. Alrighty, let's check out this layer. And I still have a lot of exposed adhesive. What I want to do next is take my focal images and layer those down. I have these two vintage images, and I'll lay her right here, and I will lay this guy right here. Or do I want them that close? Okay, so I want to layer these images where I have some exposed adhesive. It is very possible that the adhesive underneath the napkin, that it's still a little bit stickable, but to ensure I get the best bind, I want to layer these elements where I know I have exposed adhesive. And you know, I might just add one more element. Let's add this guy, and we'll add him on top of this napkin just to see how well he'll stick. Okay, I want to add some rubber stamping. And you know what? I might just add the rubber stamping. Let's pick him up and add some right here. This is a new stamp set. I have not conditioned this stamp, so hopefully I'll get a good impression. And well, you know what, in collage it don't have to come out complete, right? You see part of it. Okay, so I'll put him right here. Conditioning just means you put ink on your stamp and you stamp several times before you stamp your main image to get the rubber conditioned. Let's add this image here. And you want to stamp on foam. So I should have had some foam underneath, Let me do that right now. This is craft foam. I'll just slip it underneath and press down. Okay, that's darker. By the way, this stamp comes from Tuesday morning and it's available as of today, which is April the 6th. Alrighty. Let's add some roving. I love this stuff. I did make a butterfly and several other roving or felting designs. Never returned back to it, but I kept my roving. This was 49 cents at Tuesday morning, you guys. And this stuff works beautifully with this technique. You can mix your colors, but what you do is just peel off, tear off a piece. I think I want to mix it. And I'm going to layer this where I have exposed adhesive, and this will provide a nice texture. And you know what? I want to add a little bit here and there. So I'll put some right there. I'll put some right there. I'll put some right there. When you are fusing your layers, like sometimes I'll add more than one element. Maybe my first 2 or 3 fusing, I'll add 1 or 2 elements. But the more you fuse, the more you can add at one time. So why not add some twine or more ribbon right now? Did that make sense to you guys? I'm adding several layers with this fusing. Gonna cut small snippets of twine and add that. You can add it in any length you like. You could use your trims, your laces. Speaking of lace, I need to get a piece of lace. Okay, so now I'm going to fuse this. All right, you guys, remember how I said proceed with caution and common sense and every machine won't work? Well, I cannot recommend the Amazon Basic machine with the clear conscience. Now, I have used this machine in several videos and you will see those videos, and it does create the SACs, or it did. However, I'm not too sure what's going on now. Perhaps I have something stuck in my machine, but the sandwich, it stalls too much, and it's never done that before. My machine is still working. It will still laminate. However, for whatever the reason, it's not accepting the sandwich. So I am resorting to a machine that I know will work. Once again, I've tested 3 heat machines in this series, and the Mink machine will definitely work, though it has its limitations like every other machine out there, because once again, I'm using the heat machine in a way non-intended. It will get the job done. You will see another heat machine used in this series. All right, let's take a look at this fusing and see what we got. Oh, it's just so pretty. And this is the first time I've used colored fabric. Look at that texture. Oh, I love it. I love the colors with this fabric and with the napkin. Let's peel this and bring it a little closer. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so I have a lot more I can add. I see some exposed adhesive. So I am focusing on the areas that have the adhesive, but in this series, you will see how you can build layers upon layers by adding additional adhesive. I want to keep this one as simple as possible. I was thinking about adding one of my napkin die cuts. I shared a video, but I don't think this green is not working for me. Maybe I'll cut out these wine glasses and add those. I do have some chocolates, but I don't think those are working for me either. So let me gather together more elements. I do want to add this envelope, and I will color this. For now, I'll add it right there. Because I switched out my machine, I'm making what's now a FATC compared to a SAC. I can continue on making a SAC, but I'm going to go ahead and add some thicker elements. And that's the difference between a SAC and a FATC. A FATC, F-A-T-C, you can make fatter SACs or fatter projects. So I have a chipboard piece that I've added some glass glitter to it. I'm going to use that. I'm going to also use an envelope and stickers, because the things that you use in your paper crafting, in your scrapbooking, you can use to create these art projects. I'm going to also add some more twine. And my dog Sasha, she's in the house. She's in my scrap room. You might hear her biting on a bone. Okay, I do want to add more of this roving because it's so pretty. I love the texture that it adds. I do want to point out my die cuts, they fused. This one here did not fuse to the top of the napkin, and I'm okay with that. If I want to, I could add additional adhesive underneath right here, but the majority of this image is fused down. Okay, I do want to add some more stamping. I have another new stamp that I have not conditioned, but I do have a mat underneath. I want to stamp right here. It says "Miss You" with a letter. And let's see what else. Where do I want to add my envelope? Perhaps right here. And where do I want to add my beaded bird or my glass bird? I don't know. We'll add them right here. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and fuse. Oh, you know, I do have these sequins too. I thought, how fun. Just, nah, I don't like that. Okay, so I might add these after, but let's go ahead and add a sticker. Memories and Time. How about this one? Since I'm using vintage images. Oh, I love it. I love it. You could use your brother label maker and create any sentiment you like. Okay, let's fuse this. And remember, my last fuse, I will do it, the whole fuse on camera. So this sandwich went through the Heidi swap with no problem, you guys. I wanted to love the Amazon heat machine so badly because it's so affordable. But this machine, it gets the job done. Hobby Lobby, if you lucked out, you could have gotten this machine for $50-something, but Tuesday Morning currently has it for $75, and that's where I got mine from. Now, you may have a different machine. Feel free to experiment, but start off with a SAC. Start off with the thinnest possible sandwich and slowly work your sandwiches to get thicker and thicker the more layers you fuse. And take a look at this. Okay, so you see here some of my crystals, they're adhered to the mat, but this is a non-stick mat, so that'll come right off. I want to recycle that. Shake, shake. So I'll scrape that off. This is how it looks so far. Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. Now, because I will make a story quilt from this piece, I didn't add adhesive from edge to edge on my fabric because I'll be binding on the sides. Alrighty, you guys, we're getting down to our final fuse. I probably have two more. We'll see. Okay, I'm using thread, right? Just took some off my spool, and I could cut this up, but I want to lay it down and let serendipity have its way. Wherever it fuses, it will fuse. And I will deal with that after the fact. I did cut out my wax paper napkin die cuts, these 2 wine glasses. Now these already have fusible on it, so I could lay these anywhere I like. I'm going to focus on the areas, the napkin areas. So add that right here. And then you can use your negative scrap foil pieces. And I have a piece here. Now this is pink, so it's probably not going to show up. Let me grab another color. Okay, so I have this gold foil. This would have been pretty, but pink on pink, you won't be able to see it. So I will foil a little bit of this just to see how it's going to look. Most foil has a silver backing. This looks like a light silver. And I'll put some right there. I want to add it directly to my adhesive, and I'll put this right there. And I had another element, but I don't recall what that is right now. You know what? Why not add a cupcake? This is one of my fusible wax die cuts. So let's add a cupcake. Cupcake and wine. And let's fuse this. And then I'll do one more fuse. So the mat has cooled down. And I saw right here that my little birdie, he's coming up. So I need to add some fusible to him. What I'm going to do is take a scrap piece of my double-sided heat and bond. It's easy to peel back the adhesive from the liner. Just like that. You could tear it with your hands. And I'm going to place it underneath my birdie because I do not want him to come up. So that will ensure. Okay, so you guys, take a look at my thread. Let serendipity have its way. Some areas didn't fuse, like of course the thread would not have fused to the die cut, to the envelope, but it did fuse over the napkin. So that tells me even when you apply your napkin over your fusible, it still has a degree of stickability. Everything won't stick to it, but thread will. So parts, well, it did not bind to the die cut. I could cut off that part or just leave it. I'm going to leave mine. Okay, you guys, the final fusing, and I will do a full fuse through the machine. I like to top off my fatsies, my SACs, using distress glitter and embossing powders. Tuesday morning had all the colors last year, and my store even has a couple bottles left. Your stores might have some left too, but you could use any of your shake. And I'm focusing on the areas where the exposed adhesive is. Looking at this, you cannot tell that it's adhesive, but why not add color and texture using our different types of powders and shake. So I could mix the colors. I'm using brass, tarnished brass there. And you know, why not add this color? I can't see what it states. Let's mix it up a bit. It's not going to stick everywhere. That's okay. I don't want to cover up the face too much, or at all rather. Okay, what area did I miss? Oh, the foil. Let's see how the foil fared. I don't know what I was thinking. Wow. Okay, yes, Felicia, you've worked a lot with the foil. That's nice though, right? Adding little splashes of gold. Okay, let's go ahead and fuse this. Okay, my mat is still warm. You guys just saw a full fuse. The machine had no problems. It didn't make any weird noises. I wanted you guys to not only see it, but to hear it. The only noise you heard was the crunching sound, and that's normal. It's like your die cutting machine when it goes through, you hear the smashing and the crunching. Well, that's what you heard from the machine. But are you ready to see the final fuse? Let's see. The final tack sound. Pull back the top liner and take a look at it. Oh, I love it. And you will get different looks depending on the fabric you use, the paper you use, the element you add. And I love this. I can see the pattern or the flower from the napkin. I see my rubber stamping, the foil, my waxed paper napkin die cuts, and oh, I just love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now, I'm going to further embellish. I'm going to add some buttons. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and add stitches. You know what? Let me do that now. I'll be back to show you my final Fatsy. Alrighty, I'm back a couple days later and take a look at my Fatsy. Can you tell what elements were added? Well, I added stitches around this envelope and around this guy here. I also added a button with hot glue, and I serged around the edges. I also did one other thing, and this is so super cool. Okay, this is an envelope, but what is an envelope without a letter? So I stamped out this letter. I used my craft knife to open the envelope, and the letter will fit inside the envelope like that. So super cool. Okay, so I got rid of some of the excess thread that was hanging, and this is how the bag looks. But I love this. Okay, so I'm not going to use this as an art quilt. I'm going to do something else with it. But isn't this fabulous? I just love Collage. Has not been cleaner. It has not been easier. All made with the heat machine. Well, if you have been inspired by my creativity, why not give me a big thumbs up, like this video. Also subscribe, because I have many more videos in this series coming your way. Feel free to share this video. Also, feel free to adopt my idea. I only ask for proper credits. Please give shout outs and do link back to this video. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. As always, blessings.